Imagine waking up to headlines that the United States is openly considering military force to seize territory from a close NATO ally. Yes, friends, just yesterday, on January 6, 2026, the White House confirmed that President Trump and his team are actively discussing a range of options to acquire Greenland, and Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt stated clearly, "Utilizing the U.S. military is always an option." This comes right after the dramatic capture of Nicolás Maduro in Venezuela, emboldening Trump to push his long-held ambition. Is this the end of NATO as we know it, or the start of a bold new era of American dominance in the Arctic? Stick with me to the end, because we're diving deep into every angle, the strategy, the risks, the reactions, and what this could mean for the future of global power. You won't want to miss where this is heading. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we break down the biggest political stories with real, in-depth analysis. Today, January 7th, 2026, we're tackling one of the most shocking developments of the year so far: Trump's renewed and escalated push to take control of Greenland. Let's start with the latest news, because this story is moving fast. According to reports from Reuters, Politico, The Guardian, and others, the White House issued a statement yesterday saying President Trump views acquiring Greenland as a national security priority vital to deterring adversaries like Russia and China in the Arctic. His team is exploring everything from outright purchase to special agreements. And yes, military options are explicitly on the table. This revival of Trump's 2019 idea comes hot on the heels of the successful U.S. operation in Venezuela, where special forces seized Maduro. Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller has been vocal, arguing that no one would militarily challenge the U.S. over Greenland due to its small population. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, in a classified briefing to Congress, reportedly downplayed imminent invasion talk, emphasizing a goal of buying the island, but the threats are clearly being used as leverage. Greenland is the world's largest island, covering over 2 million square kilometers, but home to just about 57,000 people, mostly indigenous Inuit. It's semi-autonomous under the Kingdom of Denmark. Copenhagen handles foreign affairs and defense, while Nuuk manages internal matters. Strategically, it's gold. Located between the North Atlantic and the Arctic Ocean, it's key to missile defense, monitoring Russian subs, and the GIUK gap that NATO uses to bottle up Russia's northern fleet. The U.S. already operates Patuxent Space Base there, a critical radar and missile warning site from the Cold War era. With climate change melting the ice caps, new northern sea routes are opening, shorter paths for global shipping that could rival the Suez Canal. Russia is rebuilding Soviet-era bases, deploying icebreakers, and increasing military presence. China has declared itself a near-Arctic state, investing in mining projects and seeking influence. Greenland is loaded with rare earth elements essential for batteries, wind turbines, smartphones, and military tech. China controls over 90% of the global supply right now, and the U.S. wants to break that dependency. There are also vast reserves of zinc, copper, uranium, oil, and gas. Trump argues Denmark can't adequately protect or develop it, and U.S. control would secure resources, lower tech costs, create jobs, and strengthen America First policies. From the Trump administration's perspective, this is a historic opportunity. Supporters compare it to the 1867 Alaska Purchase from Russia, mocked at the time as Seward's folly, but now a strategic powerhouse rich in resources, or the Louisiana Purchase. After Venezuela, Trump has declared American dominance in the hemisphere unquestioned, and Greenland fits that vision. More bases to counter Russia, direct access to minerals, and control over emerging Arctic routes. Republicans largely back it as tough national security policy. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, Trump's special envoy to Greenland, has pushed for closer ties. It could inject billions in U.S. investment, boosting Greenland's economy beyond Denmark's annual subsidies. But let's flip the coin. The downsides and risks are massive. Legally and internationally, this would be a blatant violation. Greenland is sovereign Danish territory, and Denmark is a founding NATO member. Invoking force against an ally could trigger the collapse of Article 5 trust, effectively ending the alliance. Costs would be astronomical. Billions to maintain infrastructure in harsh conditions, potential local resistance, and long-term legal battles. Environmentally, ramped-up mining accelerates ice melt, raising sea levels and worsening climate crises. Polls show most Greenlanders want greater independence from Denmark, not annexation by the U.S. They prioritize self-determination. Hey folks, if you're finding this breakdown eye-opening, hit that like button right now to help push it to more people, and drop a comment. Do you think Trump is bluffing for leverage, or is he dead serious? And if you want more no BS, in-depth takes like this on the stories shaping our world, subscribe and ring the bell. You won't regret it. Now, the international reactions have been swift and unified. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen called the threats unacceptable, warning that a U.S. attack on a NATO ally would mean the end of NATO and post-World War II security. She's invested billions in Arctic defense and insists Greenland is not for sale. Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen said, "Enough is enough. No more fantasies about annexation," calling the rhetoric disrespectful and urging respectful dialogue. People in Greenland are reportedly worried and scared. Europe has rallied hard. Leaders from France, Germany, Britain, Italy, Spain, Poland, and more issued a joint statement with Frederiksen declaring Greenland belongs to its people and that only Denmark and Greenland decide its future. Arctic security should be collective through NATO, not unilateral grabs. France and Germany are drafting joint response plans. Canada and Nordic countries have voiced full support. Russia and China are gleefully calling it American imperialism, using it to undermine Western unity. Even in the U.S., there's pushback. Democrat Senator Ruben Gallego introduced legislation to block military funding for any Greenland action, warning against forever wars. Looking ahead realistically, no crystal ball, just based on patterns and stakes. Most likely scenario: Trump is using threats as high-stakes negotiation tactics to extract concessions, like expanded U.S. bases, mining rights, or a compact of free association, where the U.S. handles defense and provides aid, like with some Pacific islands, without full annexation. Rubio's comments suggest purchase or deal is the real aim, and direct invasion is too costly politically. It would shatter NATO, alienate Europe, and hand propaganda wins to Russia, China. But if tensions escalate, Europe could boost independent defense spending, weakening NATO, and pushing a more multipolar world. Long-term, this pressure might accelerate Greenland's independence push. Locals could hold a referendum, emerging as a sovereign nation, perhaps aligned with the U.S. or Europe. The Arctic race is heating up. Melting ice means trillions in resources and new trade routes at stake. Trump might gain some wins, but at the risk of losing allied trust. This isn't just about one island. It's a sign of shifting global order, where old alliances are tested and power plays in the far north could redefine everything. All right, everyone, that's our full deep dive into the Greenland crisis with Trump, from the breaking news and history to the pros, cons, reactions, and realistic future paths. Is this smart power politics or a dangerous overreach? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss. Thanks for sticking around to the end. See you in the next one. Peace out.